So now we are welcoming Sister Suzanne, Sister Pat, Sister Ceal, and Sister Phuong with us to talk about how they have been responding to the needs of the times in the New Orleans area. Sister Suzanne?
What our plan is that we'll have a conversation with you. We are inviting you to come into the Peace Center and hear our story, hear what we do, and see how this strikes your heart, what it says to your heart. The dream of the Peace Center began with a group of sisters here in New Orleans who wanted to continue the Dominican presence and reach out to the needs of the neighborhood, reach out to the needs of the city. And so they began planning and inviting sisters to come and be a part of this dream. Sister Pat Thomas, Sister Ceal Warner, and myself answered that call. We came. And we already knew that the name that we would have would be the Peace Center. What we have come to know and live is that we're trying to build peace in what we do. And that's in the neighborhood, in the city. We are trying to be peace to the people that we meet. And so what we do is what we think are the needs of the people. To start off with, what happened was a group of sisters, not us, went door to door to ask the people of the neighborhood, what do you need? What do you need? And they came up with, first of all, something for their children, and then something for the elders and the community. And so the three of us are the founders, if you will. We gathered together and tried to figure out how to put these pieces together, how to be a community of peace among ourselves, and then to share that with others. We came together, we moved in on the Feast of St. Dominic, which was kind of nice, 2014. And from there, we collected furniture from the sisters of the different houses. It was really neat how they shared what they had with us. And we hardly had to buy anything because of the sharing of the community. And then we began to see, now what shall we do? And it evolved as we saw the needs of the people and also matched what were the skills that we had. We, from the beginning, have wanted to reach out to the teens and young adults, but somehow that hasn't happened. But we keep listening. What are the needs and how do we respond? And we have been very fortunate that the associates have worked with us. We've had great help from our associate members. And then we have a wonderful advisory council. So it's not just what we think, but how they can guide us. And so what we want to do today is to tell you about what we've been up to and invite you to think, you know, would that be something that I might like to do? So we can start with our pictures.
And you had to start with that one. Okay. We've come to the point where we know there's lots of people that we haven't reached yet. And so we created something called Taking It to the Streets. And with the connection we have with St. Rita Parish, which is now sort of a teaching parish for the seminary, we hooked up with some seminarians, and in this case, this is Taylor, and he joined me on a couple of Saturdays, and we just set up a table on a street corner, and what you see on the right of the picture is one of our neighborhood characters. This is Beulah, and Beulah came to have a conversation with us about voting. This was a time to get registered for voting. and she wanted to know where to go and how she could best do it. And we gave her directions, and then Beulah walked in the opposite direction that we gave her. But that's Beulah. She is just a lovely lady and always wears hats. So this continued a few Saturdays in the fall until it got a little too chilly to be out there. And then we were going to pick up again, but then something happened called Mardi Gras. And then after that was COVID-19. So that particular activity needs to get started up again when the time is right.
Well, we have a connection with the Dominican High School, and their book club donated this little street library for us. And one of our volunteers, Paul Bontalibus, has a whole lot of friends, and they have been very helpful to us since the beginning. And one of them is a carpenter. So he was able to put this whole thing together. We had just originally had the top of it. But one of the things we did was Sister Pat drew the box itself, and all the kids, if they wanted to participate in it, they colored on paper what they would see the box looking like. And so finally, after the contest, this is Beacon Jones, and he won. That's his colors that he picked. And as you can see, he's very happy with himself doing this. But it was really very, very fun to have them do it. And they were so excited about it. And it's a very active library this was, well, how long ago was that, Pat? About 2 years? Yeah. And it's very active today. It's usually stuffed, and a lot of people stop by and they pick out their books and bring them back, and the cycle goes on. So that is Beacon.
This was a wonderful experience. You're looking at one of the buildings of Xavier University. Xavier University is the only Black Catholic university in the United States. And it's just really about 6 blocks from here. So we can even walk over there. Well, we went to their volunteer fair, and we had a table, and we invited people to come and join us. Now, a wonderful acceptance of this invitation was a group of great young men called Men on a Move. And you'll see 2 of them in the picture. And they have taken us on as their ministry or apostolate. And what they do is they come and help our young people, who you see there, to do their homework. Every afternoon, they have a snack, and then they do their homework, and then they get to play. And play often includes football. And of course, that's not the thing that Pat and Ceal and I can do so well. So, I mean, they're just marvelous in helping us to do that. Now, this particular day, what we were doing is having a tour of the university. And we even met the university president as we were walking along, and he said, "I hope you come to Xavier someday." And of course, we would want that too, that they'd keep growing in their educational desires and strengths. And these young men have been so good in helping us.
Oh, yes. We try to provide field trips for the kids, and in a way it's kind of hard because their schools do an awful lot of field trips. And so we try to find some places they haven't been to all the time. And this particular day, we went to the NASA Museum over in Mississippi. And they had a marvelous time. The two guys are brothers, so they harass each other all the time. But it's just a great way for us to connect with the kids, to go to a different place, to be in a different environment, and they can experience some things that maybe they haven't quite had before, or maybe a different way of experiencing it than they had when they did it as a school group. We go in a smaller group, so maybe it's only about 15, 20 kids, and we divide them up so they can really have time to enjoy some of the exhibits. And of course, there's always the gift shop. So this picture is before the gift shop. We won't show you after the gift shop, I hope. They gravitate to the vending machines in the gift shop. So even though there are some really awesome things to buy in the gift shop, somehow they just, their nutritional issues are pretty steep. And so they just think that buying this candy and soda and everything is much more valuable than getting souvenirs. But there are exceptions. Some of them will go in to buy a gift for mom, or a sister or brother at home, or someone that they really care about. And so that's always special when they come up and say, I think I'm going to get this for my mom. And the fact that they have the money, we're able to give them a little spending cash over and above maybe something that they brought. But these kinds of experiences just are invaluable to helping the center.
Well, this is a continuation of the NASA Space Museum. And the kids are on this virtual rocket ride through the universe. And it was so funny watching them. There was another group of 4 on the other side. And the seats would go to the left, to the right, up and down, and jostle them all around. And while they're watching whatever it was they were watching through space, and they were just, somebody said, look at that on the left, and everybody turned to the left. And they were holding on to each other. They were so funny, but they got such an experience seeing whatever they were seeing in the universe, and hopefully a teachable moment for them. But we very much enjoyed watching them do this.
Oh, and then we took them to the global wildlife. This is a park in
That's the zoo.
That's a zoo.
That's the zoo, hon.
Oh, excuse me. This was the zoo, and but they had giraffes in the other place too. But anyway, okay. So we went from exploring each of the animals and trying to give them, in some sense, a hands-on of, we're in what is like inner city, so they don't have these kind of animals around. So it was a way to safely get them to experience creation and animals and ways of being able to grow. You'll see that they did have some food, and they were able to feed some of the animals. And of course, what they commented on was how long the tongue was of the giraffe. But they had a good time. They were invited to eat some, I think it was snails, but most of them wouldn't try it because they said, oh no, that's too much.
Ah, yes. We try to provide some celebration times. So we have a major Halloween party and a major Christmas party. And as you can see, this is Halloween. Now, in the background behind the kids, you see a group of young ladies. One of the aspects that we really worked hard at was to make connections throughout the city with organizations and to try to network, and that has been invaluable. And in this case, you know, early on, Sister Suzanne talked about our connection with Men on the Move and Xavier. This is a group called Girls Hope, I'm sorry. And I don't know if you're very familiar with that, but it's a residential place for young women. I forget how young they can be, but they can live there throughout high school. And most of these girls are also students at Dominican. So we made the connection with them, and this year they provided the Halloween party that you're seeing here. They came up with awesome games, and it just kind of related to the kids. And you see some of them are sitting at the table, but most of the guys, of course, didn't want anything to do with girls. That's kind of yucky. And so they separated themselves. But having the girls there and participating with the kids was just a very positive experience for everyone. And they definitely had a good time. And it was another learning time for them. And the girls were so willing to get involved with the kids. And in some cases, a few of them continued that relationship by being a part of the after school program as tutors and homework helpers.
We're not sure why, but they love musical chairs. At any party we have, when they start getting bored, we pull out musical chairs and they all go crazy. But as you can see in the picture, the older girls got involved with them too. So they go on and on with this for a long time because I don't know if it's their competitive spirit or what, but they just love this game.
And this is the picture of the girls. They are just so fine in offering their activities and getting together with the kids. And in a way, we're helping them too, because they're at Girls Hope. They have a holistic program, which includes academics and residents, but also they are asked to do ministry. And so this is one of the things that we partner with them so that they help us and hopefully we help them.
Oh, okay. This is the Christmas party. And what you see on the left side of the screen are hands. They each traced their hands on green construction paper. And then we took them, and Sister Ceal navigated putting them up so that it would really look like a tree. And interestingly enough, this idea came from another connection that we had when one of our sisters teaching in a school in the diocese invited us to be a part of their Christmas program, and their students collected Christmas presents. And so we went over to St. Christopher's one day about 4 years ago, and they had tons and tons of presents all wrapped. And as we were looking around the school, we saw this tree on a teacher's door. So we've kind of maintained our connection with St. Christopher's, even though we're not there anymore. We're not connected with them as much anymore. But we manage every year to have presents for every kid that comes to the party. In some cases, we have 2 gifts. But again, it's been a process of connecting with organizations. And so through the high school, through our police department, we now have a connection with the Notre Dame Alumni Association. And through our grant monies, we have been able to offer a lot of opportunities for these kids. And the Christmas party is definitely a big one. And without those organizations helping us, and without our grant monies, a lot of the things that we do wouldn't be able to happen.
Okay, this is some more pictures of the party. And on the left, you can see Santa's helpers, Sister Suzanne and Sister Margaret and Sister Pat. And Pat really has this gift of organizing the multitudes of gifts that come in, because we have to, of course, make them sex and age appropriate for the children. And so that's always such a big challenge. But Pat manages to pull it off each year. And of course, Santa is one of the guys that lives on the street. Not on the street, but he lives in a house nearby. And he's a great Santa, he really is. And the kids love him. And he gets to give them all a candy cane too. And the one on the right is just one of our little ones. And Kernaya is her name. And she wanted her picture with Santa after the party. So there she was with him.
Oh, this was an exciting thing. You will see, this is one of our activities when we have our camp, our summer camp. Sadly enough, we weren't able to have it this year because of the virus. But in the past years, we've had 1 week for girls and 1 week for boys. So you see right here, the Girls' Week. Now you can probably guess that this is when we went to Mardi Gras World. This is a wonderful place in New Orleans where they build the floats, and we walk through their workshop. So we see them designing, we see them paper macheing, and then we see them painting, and then we see the finished product, a whole warehouse full of floats. And then this year, of the picture, what we did was we went upstairs, we had a meal, and then we made masks. So all of us are making a made mask, and we are demonstrating to them. As you can see, some people were very creative, some people, but everybody did their thing. You start off with a plain silver mask, and then you glue it, and then you put the appropriate glitter on it. You'll see to the far left of the picture, one of our counselors. With each of the camps, we have 2 girls for the girls camp and 2 boys, of course, for the boys. So, and they, of course, do a lot of the activities with the kids. And this is our official Peace Center camp shirt that Sister Ceal arranged for us to have. And they were told to strike a pose. So that's why they're doing it like that. They had a good time with that too.
Whoa. This is also from summer camp one year. And we're able, because Sister Ceal puts lots of time and effort into it, to schedule field trips to different places and to have speakers. On this particular day, we took the campers to our Spiritual Life Center in Rosaryville. And every year they provide us with a swimming pool, with maybe archery, with fishing, with all kinds of activities, and also a wonderful lunch and drinks and snacks and things like that. But each year that we went, they would always, somehow they've added new things. So one year things were pretty normal, and the next year we went and they had paddle boats, and this was absolutely fantastic. This particular year, they had decided they were going to have water slides. And obviously you can see that they enjoyed it. It was a great day to have it. And what's happening is Rosaryville is a very rustic, scenic area. It's far away from the noise and craziness that they're accustomed to. And so they're seeing a different environment. They love going out to the pond and they could go on canoes and as I said, the pedal boats. And it's just something that's a little out of the ordinary for them. At the end of summer camp for both the boys and the girls, we do kind of a survey, I guess you'd call it, and try to decide, what needs to change and what really worked. And so we ask them what their favorite food was for that week, and what they wouldn't want us to stop serving and things like that. And then what was the best day? And every year since we started summer camp, Rosaryville came out as #1. They just thought that was perfect. And many of them had never swum before. So going into the swimming pool was a unique experience. And some of them, it was the very first time that they had been to a swimming pool, in a swimming pool. And I'm not going to say they learned to swim that day, but they became more comfortable and a little more self-assured, and they weren't so fearful of being in the water. So anytime that we're with our folks, there's always learning going on, whether they're learning from us or we're learning from them. And so it creates a lot of good memories.
I'd just like to add that with some of the boys last year when we were going to Rosaryville, it's about an hour's drive from where we are. And at one point, somebody asked if we were still in New Orleans. And we became aware that some of them had never been outside of New Orleans. And we went over to the causeway, which is miles and miles long, and they were glued to the windows, just looking around them at all the water and trees. And they were just mesmerized by it because they just had never been outside the city before. And this is Rosaryville as well. As Pat noted, they had paddles, boats, but we also had canoes. And as you can see, boys will be boys, and they're kind of trying to crash into each other. And but they all had really great fun out on the lake in the canoes.
Oh, this is another activity that they love. Every year that we've had summer camp, we've been able to take them to the stables of the police department. And actually, we have a lovely relationship with our police. So with everything going on right now, we know that we've experienced a whole another side, or such a good side. They invite us to come, and they tour us, and then they let the kids have a hands-on experience of horses. Now, as Sister Ceal said just now, that they wouldn't have that experience of horses because we sure don't have any in the neighborhood. But they get to brush them, they get to give them peppermints, and they get to ride them just a little bit now, but they ride around in a corral. And for most, oh, here you go, there they are. Some of them are a little anxious, but that happens. And then the picture on the right is, we also went to an alligator farm. And here we see two of the boys who were brave enough to touch the alligators, and this little baby alligator. Now, to be safe, what they do is they put a piece of tape around their mouth so they can't, bite or anything. But you can see in their faces discovery and amazement. And of course, that's what we hope so much for them, is to open their horizons, help them to see the world in a little bit bigger, broader way.
And so you see the girls at their camp experience of going to the stables. The first year we had summer camp, we talked to the police department, and we had asked them about bringing the dogs. And of course, that's a big no-no, because the dogs are trained so that the kids wouldn't have been able to pet them. And be friendly with them, they would have only been able to put on a show for us. So, we talked about that, and they suggested maybe the horses. Well, that very first year, they came to us. They brought a couple of horses, and we have well, it's a field now. It used to be a strip mall. A field next to us, and they brought the horses, and the kids got to pet them and feed them, but they couldn't ride them. And this happened for the boys and the girls. Well, the officer in charge of the stables saw what we were trying to do, and the next year said, no, you come to us. So we went out to the stables, and lo and behold, it was because they could ride them out there. So we have converted some kids to a willingness to be close to a horse, which is, as you can see, giant, to even get up on top of one. And you see this lovely little lady here, not too sure, but by the time she got off, all was good. And they always pick the, shall we say, friendliest horses, the ones who are willing to abide the kids crying and maybe being nervous, and everybody adjusts. But even in their fear, they realized that this was a gentle beast, and it was something that they needed to get to know better.
Computer class. We have a computer class on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9 to 12. And it's free. Well, actually, all our programs are free. And we have people from the neighborhood come in to learn computer skills. They're at all different kinds of levels. Some of them, aren't really sure how to turn one on, and where others are pretty skilled and are looking to tune up their skills, especially in the area of Excel. And we do offer 3 different programs. They'll do like 6 weeks of Word or introduction. Suzanne, you should be talking to this one. and then we do the internet, and then Excel. And so these are just 2 of the men who you can see are very engaged in what they are learning.
This is another scene. The gentleman at the computer is Wallace Pelletute, and he is our professor of computer. I talked to his wife when we were just beginning to open the center, and she said, how's it going? I said, we really need a computer teacher. And she said, oh, my husband would do that. So she recruited her husband, and he has just been so faithful. I'd ask you to keep him in prayer, though, because right now he's going through chemo. He's battling cancer. So we're hoping and praying that he'll get better. And then these are some of our faithful people. The lady with her arms crossed, that's Linda. She started out being a student, but now she's an assistant in the computer class, and she's real good about running around to each computer to, when people are not sure where to go and what to do. The thought of having computers, though, was a wonderful gift. We started out with having computers, and it's been a drawing card. We have 14 of them, and we then can, in the morning, have them available to anybody who wants to come in. And of course, there are a lot of people in the neighborhood who don't have computers, but they have to get on food stamps, they have to fill out their government papers, and then also they look for job applications. So we assist them in that also, as well as how to turn on the computer. But we're real grateful that we have the computers. I was talking to one of the neighbor's aunts down the street, and she said, Rodney looks forward to computer class. that's the highlight of his life. So I thought, oh, that's nice.
A continuation of the computer class, and you can see our professor is hands-on. He comes to try to figure out if folks are having problems, and it's amazing the proficiencies that they come with, and some, as you've heard us say, don't even know how to turn it on, and some have been working with computers, but they know it's time to beef up their skills. And so we're able with Wallace and Suzanne and Linda to sort of meet their needs as best as we can. And it's just created one part of the class is break time. And they sit down at the tables, and we always have snacks that Sister Ceal has purchased, and coffee and things like that. And they just want to sit and talk. And so they have created another kind of community. And after, first few classes, they'll come in and they greet each other much more. And many of them don't live near each other, but they've come to know each other through the center. And that's just as valuable a lesson as learning how to use the computers.
Hey, bingo. We have bingo for the senior citizens since the get-go. And actually at one point we added a second one because they just love it so much. And the first one, we have them on Wednesdays, usually twice a month. And they have, well, as I said, we have two. One we call the No Frills Bingo, which we just serve them beverages and some snacks. And the second time, we have a hot meal for them, and that's prepared by one of our associates, Madeline Curtis, and she just loves to do this, and they love her, and they love her food. And so they come together socially. I mean, they really enjoy each other's company, and whoever wins gets they clap for that person. There's no snarkiness about, who she won and I didn't. And we have some men who come as well, but the majority is women. And they just enjoy it, and we enjoy being with them. And we have different times of, like when there's Mardi Gras, we have something for Mardi Gras. For Christmas, we also have Christmas parties for the senior citizens, which they enjoy.
This was another outing. We not only have outings with the kids, but we also have outings with the seniors. We try to provide 2 trips a year if we can. And this one, you'll see it looks like a pier in the background because we're at Lake Pontchartrain. But what we are doing is hearing about a lighthouse, and they're one of the oldest lighthouses in the area, and I think you'll see a picture of that. But anyway, we encourage them to do their wear their BP t-shirts, and you'll see a lot of them have them. And we just gave them the new edition for Christmas presents. But they are sitting by the lake, relaxing and enjoying their field trip.
And prior to visiting the lighthouse, we had lunch at Landry's, which is a pretty famous restaurant here in New Orleans. And they really, really enjoy it. They just love going to dinner.
Another one of our trips was to the Audubon Aquarium. And, you never know what will really interest someone, and will they like what they're doing. You always have this attitude of, well, it's an outing, it's getting away, and I don't care where it goes. And then it's being together with my friends, so I don't care where it goes. And now you see that well, they're learning some stuff that they hadn't seen before. So even though they are senior citizens, senior adults, the desire is still there to learn. And it's been awesome just to be a part of exposing them to different places that in some cases they couldn't even afford to go to. You know how tourist traps are. But letting them see and experience places and things that they don't ordinarily do. So they enjoy, again, being together, but then having these kinds of experiences are really good too.
This one is aboard the Natchez steam. Is this one the steamboat of Natchez? Is
No,
that
this is Landry's.
back up?
Go back. That's Landry's.
That's Landers. Okay. As we're saying, it was part of the trip we took with the lighthouse connected to it. And as I said, they just really enjoy going out and eating. They get to pick the menu, pick from the menu and whatever they want, and they have desserts, and they just enjoy each other so much. It's just amazing. They're all really sweet people. Or if you've asked them, they're blessed. That's what they tell us. We're blessed.
And here we are on the Natchez. This is a paddle boat that goes up and down the river. And so on the left, you'll see we're all sitting on the outside enjoying the view. And on the right, we're inside enjoying the buffet. Now, the way it goes, they have a commentator. So as we're sitting on the deck, we get the history of New Orleans. They'll say, on the right side is the sugar refinery. On the left side is where the gas refinery and this school and the monuments and different things. So we get educated in that way. And I have to say, they really enjoy it and get into it. You'll see on the left, Laura. She is one of our most enthusiastic participants. She always enjoys, she's always so grateful that she encourages us on in whatever we do. And so, and then what happens is we come in and we eat, and then on the way back, they have music. They have a live band, and so they sit and listen to the music and just relax and enjoy themselves.
And these are more of our folks on the Natchez. One of the, what shall I say? One of the learnings, I guess, for us, these folks have lived in New Orleans almost all their lives. And so they have seen all the changes. And on this trip, for instance, as the commentator is doing his thing, they're doing a little sidebar. Yeah, well, I remember when we did and blah, 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 blah. And you remember when you were a kid and this was here. And so we're learning a lot of the history of New Orleans and a lot of the ways that they grew up. The woman in the middle here is one of our elders. She just turned 89 this year. The oldest member of our senior adults is 95 and still quite active and busy. But these women just appreciate everything that's happening and want to be a part of it and have limitations, either physically or mentally. They have some stuff that keeps them from doing all of the things they used to. Most of these women worked all their lives until there came a point when they couldn't. And most of the time, that point was Katrina. So we have a lot of BK stories and AK stories. And usually that's the pivotal moment, where they were and what happened to them at Katrina time. So most of these ladies you see here had moved out of the city, evacuated, and in some cases lost their homes and had to come back and rebuild. And in some cases lost their homes and had to find someplace else to live that wasn't their home. So it's been a learning all around, and days like this are very special to do things like that.
Over here on the left, we have a couple of our ladies enjoying the Jazz Fest. We have taken them there each year, except this year. And they spend most of their time in the gospel tent, enjoying the music. Some venture out and go to different places as well. But they really enjoy the Jazz Fest, and so do we. And on the right is a Christmas picture there. We went to Middendorf's, which is another restaurant that most of them have never been to. And it's pretty famous, and they have really great food. And so once again, they get to go and order off the menu and get dessert and everything they want to fill up their tummies. And then they're just very satisfied, and we end up with a really great trip. And they talk about it all year long, these trips.
Now this was a party for us. There is a wonderful group of New Orleans musicians who got together and decided to form a group to assist people who are hungry and homeless. Their official title, as you see on the banner, is New Orleans Artists Against Hunger and Homelessness. And what happened was, we have a friend who put our name in as some people who work with hunger and to some extent homelessness, not too much for that. But but we were selected as one of the candidates to receive the award. And so here we are at the banquet, which took place at Loyola University. Sister Pat is holding the check, and I am holding a wonderful bowl that they gave us as a remembrance of what they're doing for us. So we are so blessed by having grants, put in a great word for our community, which has hired grant writers to help us. The grants actually pay for all of our programs, all of the trips, all of the activities that you've seen, all of the snacks. The grants pay for that. And so we really exist and are maintained because of what they are able to contribute. So we're grateful for this group, but all of the others that have been so good to us.
A learning for us Northerners, Mardi Gras is not a day. Mardi Gras is a season, beginning January 6th. And so we try to create as much Mardi Gras spirit for these folks who, for the most part, have had their fill of parades and beads. They did it, it's been done, they're finished. So we have a Mardi Gras bingo dinner, luncheon, and then we have our own version of a Mardi Gras parade and provide beads and umbrellas and hankies and the whole 9 yards. And we parade around the center. So they have their own time of Mardi Gras without having to be out there in the big crowds.
This is the Night Out Against Crime, as it's called, and actually it's international. And this was the first one we did was impromptu, and we had about 25 people come. And the following year we had lots more, and Then next year we had about 100 come. It just keeps growing. And as you can see, many police show up for it. And we are fortunate that one of our sisters, who's a daughter of charity, she has a group of young students come for a week for a service in New Orleans. And she brought them here to the Night Out Against Crime. And they were so helpful for us in setting up. And they put up the
Volleyball.
thank you, volleyball apparatus in the background, and played with the kids most of the night, because the after school kids just stay on after that and or attend. And so you can see we had a lot of people come in and they enjoy themselves, and we just, you know, try to stand up for what the night stands for, you know, Night Out Against Crime.
This is a fun picture. One of the things we do is we have, well, actually we have two newsletters. We have one that goes out to all of our benefactors and tells our story, but also asks for contributions. And then we have another one, which is we call the neighborhood news letter. And what that does is we go around door to door and hand out the letters. I mean, hand out the newsletters. So I happen to be going to this house, and there's Miss Pauline, and she's always very supportive of us and encouraging. Well, I hand her the newsletter, and she just sits down right away and starts reading it. And so and her friends do too. So I said, and she says, "Oh yeah, I like this. This way I know what's going on." Of course, she probably knows what's going on about everything. But anyway, she gets to read about it. And then what they do is they identify the people in the newsletter that they know. This is so-and-so's niece. This is so-and-so's grandson. And so it really has become a neighborhood paper, so to speak. And we write the articles, and we get help from our community to put it together, and the development department helps us put it together, and then it gets printed. And these get handed out, the others get mailed out.